Abortion is not the answer, and I will explain why with not my opinion, but facts and science. To start off, everyone has been hearing the phrase my body, my choice. But is that true? Is a fetus really a part of a woman's body? I don't think it is. First off, the baby has its own blood type, entirely separate from the mother's. This has also led to diseases where mother's immune system reacts against their baby's blood type, including again that the fetus's blood type is different. Your body does not have a separate blood type. Secondly, the baby has its own set of DNA. During pregnancy, about 10% of the mother's DNA is the baby's. They first mapped the DNA of both the mother and the father, and then they took the blood sample from the pregnant woman. Within the 4 billion DNA molecules sequenced in the sample, they separated the fetus's DNA strands that were buried deep within. This data right here is clearly showing that the DNA of the baby is separate from the DNA of the mother. Your body does not have a separate DNA. Just because something is forming inside of you doesn't mean that it is you. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, says that 66% of abortions occur within the first 8 weeks, while 92 are performed within the first 3 weeks. The baby's heartbeat begins at 6 weeks. Its nose, mouth, and ears are starting to take shape, and the brain is beginning to develop. By 8 weeks, the baby has started moving around. The baby can now start to feel pain. Breathing tubes now extend from its throat and to its developing lungs. By 10 weeks, the embryo has completed the most critical portion of development. By 11 weeks, the baby is almost fully formed. It's kicking, stretching, and even hiccuping as its diaphragm develops. And by 13 weeks, this is the last week of your first trimester. Your baby's tiny fingers now have fingerprints, and its veins and organs are clearly visible through the skin. The fetus is a human being, no matter what stage of development it is in. No matter how you spin the issue, it is inhumane to kill a fetus, no matter how small it is.
My name is Dr. Anthony Levatino. I'm a practicing obstetrician-gynecologist, and I've performed over 1,200 abortions. Today I'm going to describe a first trimester surgical abortion called suction DNC, dilatation and curettage. This is the most frequently performed abortion and is used typically from 5 to 13 weeks of pregnancy. The baby has a heartbeat, fingers, toes, arms, and legs, but its bones are still weak and fragile. The abortionist takes a suction catheter like this one. This is a 14 French suction catheter. It's clear plastic, about 9 inches long, and it has a hole through the center. It is inserted through the cervix into the uterus. The suction machine is then turned on with a force 10 to 20 times more powerful than your household vacuum cleaner. The baby is rapidly torn apart by the force of the suction and squeezed through this tubing down into the suction machine, followed by the placenta. Though the uterus is mostly emptied at this point, one of the risks of a suction DNC is incomplete abortion. Essentially, pieces of the baby or placenta left behind. This can lead to infection or bleeding. In an attempt to prevent this, the abortionist uses a curette to scrape the lining of the uterus. A curette is basically a long-handled curved blade. Once the uterus is empty, the speculum is removed and the abortion is complete. The risks of suction DNC include perforation or laceration of the uterus or cervix, potentially damaging intestine, bladder, and nearby blood vessels, hemorrhage, infection, and in rare instances, even death. Future pregnancies are also at a greater risk for loss or premature delivery due to abortion-related trauma and injury to the cervix. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm Dr. Anthony Levatino, and in the early part of my career as an OBGYN, I performed over 1,200 abortions. One day, after completing one of those abortions, I looked at the remains of a preborn child whose life I had ended, and all I could see was someone's son or daughter. I came to realize that killing a baby at any stage of pregnancy for any reason is wrong. I want you to know today, no matter where you're at or what you've done, you can change. Make a decision today to protect the preborn. Thank you for your time.
I will no longer do any more abortions. When you finally figure out that killing a baby that big for money is wrong, that it doesn't take you too long to figure out it doesn't matter if the baby is this big or this big or this big or maybe even this big, it's all the same. And I haven't done any since then and I never will.
Even Dr. Anthony Levantino stated that he regretted performing abortions and how no matter if it is 1 week old fetus or a 2-year-old child, you are doing the same thing, killing a human being. Several excuses are made in the name of abortion, but most of them are based on myth and a person's feelings than actual facts and truth. Doesn't the mother have a right to choose? The mother had a right to choose, to use proper precautions to avoid getting pregnant. But after the baby is conceived, does it choose to live or to be ripped apart by a suction tube 10 times the force of a home vacuum? Don't let an innocent life pay for your recklessness. The baby deserves rights just like me and you do. So don't take away those rights from it. But what about rape? Every time I hear an argument about abortion, someone immediately throws the rape question at you thinking it will shut you up. Looking at statistics performed about the reason abortions are performed, only 0.3% are the reason of rape. It is not even 1% of the reason abortion is the answer for some people. 98.3% of abortions are because the mother was too young / immature / not ready for responsibility, economic reasons, to avoid adjusting life, being a single mother, or in a poor relationship. But what if the mother's life is in danger? Well, once again, if we look at the table, only 0.1% of abortion is because of the physical life of a mother. That is even less than the rape argument. Now, many people think abortion is the only option, and most women who have abortions are young adults who are scared and don't know what to do. Most people say, well, just put the baby up for adoption, thinking like it's no big deal. However, adoption is a good alternative, and there are organizations like Heart for Heart that can take care of you. Most of them put you up in a home, feed you, pay for your medical bills, and just take care of you until you have that baby. Then you could go live your life. I have to say, 9 months is enough punishment for your stupid actions. Would you rather spend the rest of your life knowing that you killed an innocent child, or would you want to make someone's world by allowing them to have a child that you don't even want because they can't have one? So just remember, it's not your body. You had your choice before your pregnancy. Abortion is inhumane, and there are other answers besides abortion.